Hello, hello. Hey, Stella. I'm always happy that you like the word game so much.
Hello.
And we have a Katarina with us. Yes, yes.
Yes. Not against my will, I swear.
Oh, okay. I understand.
No! Oh my god. Do you hear this, Vela? You hear this? No. Stella's ignoring us.
I know, right? She came for the word game and then bounced.
And then bamfed.
She's like, nah, don't need to be here anymore. The word game's over. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Rain. I'm still finishing up the last of my dinner. Thank you for checking in, Andrew.
Whoa. others have shown themselves.
Yes. And then I can only assume she kicks his ass. Katarina nearly had a heart attack over the idea of an interview.
Oh my god. No, it was stressful. So stressful.
And then she did fine.
Right?
Oh, Andrew's asking for more.
Like what? More what? No, applying for a promotion. Becoming a team lead. Something like that. Oh, that doesn't mean I won't be doing, like, work, Rain. Thanks for the implication.
In other words, yes, she's still going to come home with bumps and bruises and possibly a broken leg.
The only broken bone the entire company's had this year was a foot.
And they've nearly run you over like twice.
Yeah, just less of a chance. Yeah.
Yes, I went from one issue to the other issue. Now my nose is all crusted up from being from apparently getting a bloody nose like in the middle of the night.
That's the change in moisture, because it's so fast in how it changes. Your body doesn't have time to like acclimatize.
Yes, but it sucks to have gunk in your nose. Like old dried blood in your nose is the worst feeling ever, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, we went from like 5 days of rain a week to it hasn't rained in like 4 or 5 days, and it's just been dry.
My poor nose.
Look, you don't have to wake up at 3 in the morning when it's like almost below freezing and dry.
You're right. I wake up 30 minutes later. Like, what do you want from me?
Yes, but you stay in the house.
Well, yeah. Why would I go out there?
My point has been made for me.
He's still kind of an idiot.
Right.
Just say you care about him. Goodness. Both of you are dumb. I'm worried about my friend who may have, you know, just up and vanished into the Far East. Hi, your girlfriend misses you. He truly does, but it's okay, so do I. Rain's like, nope, I see crafting. Run away. Wow. I know, right? I was just here, minding my own business. Me over here, I've already learned this style.
Right?
Okay, I guess I'm making paladin mail. I guess it is the shiniest.
I'm going to make the shiniest breastplate.
Really, it's a whole set of mail.
It will not be useful, but it will be shiny.
Mm-hmm. As you know, there will not be any way for this person to raise their arm above their elbow. Ever.
Holy shit. Don't get me on another armor rant.
I love your armor rants, though. I will always bait the armor rants.
They're almost as bad as my sword rants.
I like those too.
The katana's the best sword ever. Shut up, you idiot. Let me shatter it with my barely usable longsword because they were just made with better materials.
I got distracted.
Lol.
I know, right? This is the best time to just rant about whatever the hell you want to rant about.
Katana is quick and clean. No, it's not. It's a slashing weapon. No slashing weapon in history is quick or clean. Only if you manage to, I guess, cut someone's head off. In which case, that guy's, you know, well.
That's anime, Andrew. That's not reality. You have any idea how hard bone is?
So, okay, so this is a common misconception around katanas. They used to test their sharpness by cutting through prisoners' necks. Here's the thing, though, is like it wasn't all at once. It was one, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then like it wasn't just like one like fucking long ass slice. Which ironically is not actually a good way to test the sharpness of a blade, but anyway. But yeah, anyway. Like, that's... Okay, here's the thing. That's not to say that katanas are not impressive. They are, but they're not impressive as a sword. They're impressive as, like, a smithed thing.
As a work of art, love.
Because... Sorry?
As a work of art. As a testament to the craftsmanship.
Yes. Because they were working with such horrible materials to forge with, and yet they somehow managed to, you know, forge the katana, which is with that material. That's amazing. That's why katanas are impressive, because Japan had extremely shitty iron deposits, like really bad. Like I have no way of expressing to you how bad it was. So they had to. The reason why you have to fold a katana like 1,000+ times is because you're pushing all the impurities out of it. You're pushing all the stuff that isn't the metal that you want out of it. Basically through brute force. And that takes an enormous amount of time. Like a stupid amount of time. And yeah, that's impressive. Like, that shit's impressive. The process is amazing. But the sword itself was not particularly great in its design. But it was a matter of function over like aesthetics, I guess. Or the reason the way it's designed the way it is because they could not forge a stabbing sword that would be strong enough to do that. Like, it would break. Because
and in fact,
the
if you
steel
hit a
was
katana
so
in the
poor.
wrong way, or if you swing it the wrong way, it also breaks. Pretty much
Yeah, it'll
immediately.
just shatter. Yep. So like, the katana is the best thing that they could have made with the materials that they had, and I will never dispute that. That's exactly why the katana is an amazing sword. However, the moment you compare it to anybody who had proper iron to make proper steel, a half-assed longsword from the Germanic provinces or even England would shatter a katana almost on contact. Not to mention that longswords were designed to stab through armor. Principally chainmail, but yeah, they were designed to go through armor. Again, Western swords are basically long-range stabbing devices. Yes, they have a blade. You don't really use it.
Sure you do. Like a bat.
That's different. If you're fighting somebody in full plate, suddenly the longsword becomes a baseball bat.
The
It's
best
sheer
baseball
concussive
bat
force.
money can buy.
Yep. Yep. Once two knights are fighting with swords, it becomes a bludgeoning contest. And yes, I know there are techniques for stabbing into the less armored areas. Like I definitely know that that's a thing. But for the most part, it was just who could commit enough concussive force to the enemy to either knock them out or kill them. And usually you wanted to knock them out because the point was then to ransom them off to their family. Zweihandler, long-range stabbing device that you could swing wildly, like you could, but that was like light infantry for swinging. Other than that, it was stabbing, and specifically to get people off of horses, by the way. In which case, just use a spear or a halberd. They're better.
The best weapon known to man. A spear.
I would argue the halberd is better, but yes.
Which is just a fancy fucking spear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you might want to also talk about the idea of swords being heavy, because video games have made certain swords appear to be much heavier than they actually were.
The heaviest sword, like, Zweihandlers, like, at most were 12 pounds. Most longswords were about 8 pounds. They're not very heavy, because they can't be. If you're swinging around something that heavy, on top of having armor on, you're gonna wear yourself out really quickly. So they try and make them as light as possible, but still being, you know, strong. Yeah, that too. And believe it or not, actually, most knights were very skinny. They're very, I should say, very lean. Like, you don't have big buff dudes in plate armor. Very rarely. Is that they'd be very lean.
To fit in said plate armor.
Yes. Also, just think of how much more expensive a set of plate armor would be for a big-ass buff dude compared to a smaller, lean dude. Like, just think about that for a moment. And remember that a suit of armor would be the equivalent of buying, like, a Lamborghini today.
Well, yeah, that's kind of why we're talking about it, is because, like, in video games, you see big fuck you sword, and you're like, okay, slow.
No. Big swords were scary because they were still fast. Like...
Yeah, but in video games, they have to give you a drawback for using this big fuck you weapon.
Correct.
So mechanics, you see a big fuck you sword, and you're thinking, the swings are going to be slower. Sure, but like
sword,
even
the
like
Buster Sword is dumb.
It is, but even like think Monster Hunter. Like you look at that fucking greatsword and you're like, yes, that thing is going to take an age to swing. When one, it wouldn't be that big, and two, it actually wouldn't be that much like slower to swing than a basic sword and shield. Like, not really.
The problem with... Okay, so with big swords like the Zweihandler is that they were essentially blenders for light infantry. Like, if they were going up against units that were not armored, which is usually what they were there to deal with, they were just blenders, because those things move so fast and you have such a long range compared to a regular sword. Like, there were entire mercenary groups roaming around Europe that specialized in that weapon. Because it was so effective. And yeah, you can swing them around almost as effortlessly as a regular longsword. It does require more technique because the crossguards are fucking massive. But no, you can swing them around just as fast, and it's terrifying. Oh yeah.
I mean, I hate to put it this way, but basic bitch longsword.
Yep. And I'd say it's most useful. I wouldn't, maybe not best, but most useful. For sure. And also that question requires context as to what time period you're in as well.
And again, more
longswords
often than
are
not,
most useful.
not a sword.
Yeah. Halberd. Because eventually you get to the point where you get near the Renaissance, where you start seeing rapiers and stuff. And during that age, I would argue, the Swedish rapier, I believe, is what it was called, which is a thicker blade, or a Swedish saber, which is a thicker blade saber that is still flexible. I would argue during that period was probably the most effective. At least when you're fighting someone with like a rapier and a buckler shield. Because you'd have a buckler too, and you'd have a big floppy sword that can flop over the shield and stuff. Buckler shields, by the way, are very small. But anyway, so where you are in history does matter for that, but the weapon that survived the longest period of time while still being useful was the longsword.
And again, honestly, if we're looking at the best weapon in history, I hate to put it this way because it kind of goes against all the people who are like, nah, melee honorable combat is the way to go. Like anyone who has that mentality, I'm about to like just upset them a lot. You picked either a halberd because it was extra long pokey stick, that so you could hit them but they could not hit you, or you get a fucking bow. Specifically a long bow, and it was usually a group of them in a line, and they just rained death from above because they were usually up on a hill somewhere above the battle, killing fools.
Yeah, British longbows for sure. And the reason, like, it's specifically British longbows because of the materials they had. They were able to make them far more strong, flexible, and everything you need a bow to be proper. But like, funny enough, if you were in the right environment, say Mongolia, the Mongolian shortbow could actually launch an arrow about as far as an English longbow could. The problem was the materials that short bow was made from in order to achieve that. The moment you get into any environment with any level of moisture, it just starts to rot.
Sure, but they also augmented it with, you know, being extremely good on horseback.
Oh yeah, on top of that. So,
yeah.
But the weapon itself was also very impressive. It was.
For sure. But I did want to specifically talk about the Mongols because the Mongols had a very unique fighting style, even for the time.
Oh,
Nobody could out-battle the Mongols just because they had combination of with bow, which is range, plus speed, which is horse. Good luck.
Yeah, and if you actually watch, there are modern day Mongolians that still train with horses the way that they used to, traditionally speaking. The shit that these people can do on horseback is mind-blowing.
But the Mongols are kind of an exception to most military tactics.
I still need to get that shirt. There is a shirt made by
Crash Course.
Crash Course that just has a picture of the Mongols, and underneath it says, "We are the exception," because it's true.
We're talking about the effectiveness of various weaponry, which of course talked about the Mongols because they have their very unique Mongolian shortbow. And then it got into, all right, but also the Mongols, the reason why they were so fucking deadly is because they combined that shortbow with the mobility and speed of being extremely good on horseback. And that they were unique in that at the time. And hell, even nowadays, it would be kind of that way. Yes. Telling you, Rain, you're missing the cool shit because since there's no story happening, we can just rattle off about things we enjoy talking about.
Yeah, I just went on a sword rant. Basically. Because I'm so sick of people being like, oh, the katana's the best sword ever. It's like, it really isn't.
I mean, katanas are very pretty. We've talked about this. They are an excellent display of craftsmanship.
Yes, and they are, in fact, an amazing weapon for what materials were used and where they were built. I will never deny that. The katana is an amazing weapon, given those two caveats. The moment you change the material and where it was made, suddenly it doesn't look so great.
No, you don't, Rain. If you know about the actual legend, no, you don't, Rain. That thing would kill you.
Right? It kills its master. What are you talking about?
Well, and the whole like moral of that particular one, that particular legend, was that because the creator wanted to create the ultimate killing machine, he did, and it killed indiscriminately. It was a cursed artifact.
Don't have a soul anyway. Wow.
He's over here embodying his Dark Knight heritage.
Right. But yeah, that was basically my rant. Like, I'll never dispute that it's an amazing weapon. It really is. The craftsmanship on display, amazing. Is it good outside the context of Japan? No.
I got them mixed up. Masamune is actually the good sword. It's the Murasama.
Oh.
It's because both swords are. Yeah, that's right, Muramasa. Brain not work. But the two of them are together. Yeah, then you run. Then you run very fast because she's actually trained in the damn thing.
Go for it. Your katana will shatter on the first or second block. And then I'm just coming at you.
Yeah, no, Final Fantasy loves that particular legend.
To be fair to Rain, if he gets a katana made out of modern materials, it might be pretty good. Yeah, it might be pretty good. It's still a cutting weapon, which means you're at a severe disadvantage to me with a German longsword. just because I will have range.
She goes, I stab you.
But I don't think it would shatter if you make it out of like modern materials.
I mean, it still would if you hit it the right way, because again, they're still really thin. Like, just by design.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason why katanas are usually, like, you do the one very straight slice downwards. It's because that's how they're designed to be used, and if you use it outside of that, they bend too much, and you start running into the potential of it
weird
breaking.
shit starts to happen.
Yep. Yeah, which is honestly the like, she's talking about all of like the material things and all the other things. I'm like, honestly, to me, the thing that goes against. We talked about that too, Rain. I said that too. But anywho, the thing that really sets the katana back away from the other swords is the fact that you need to be extremely skilled with this weapon to use it effectively. Whereas most other swords, with even a basic level of training, you're probably gonna do some damage. That's why I said whenever like you asked the best sword of all time, I just went, nah, the most basic longsword you can find, because even a novice could use a longsword. Could use a regular, longsword with no special, training required. They just need to be able to swing the darn thing and hit their target.
For some reason, that reminds me of a line from a TV show that follows a Canadian SWAT team or special command unit, where they're talking about how they all have guns, and this person in the house that they're trying to talk down and stuff, it just has a knife. Why don't you just go in and get them? And the guy responds with, you never have to reload a knife, and you require no training to make it deadly.
Yes, whereas a gun you could miss.
Yeah, you need to know how to shoot a gun.
But yeah, funny enough, sometimes the simplest weapons are actually the best ones, just because, nah, you can hand it to Joe Average peasant, man. They would never give it to a woman. But Joe Average peasant man, and say, hey, use this. And likely they're gonna do damage. It won't be a lot of damage, because obviously the moment they come up to somebody more skilled than them, then that's over, right? Like, right?
A massive sledgehammer. Hey, warhammers were a thing, though warhammers were much smaller than people imagine them to be.
Which is unfortunate.
Like, people imagine these giant double-handed sledgehammers and calling them warhammers. I'm like, a warhammer at most was 1.5 feet long. Like, maybe.
No,
they were just heavy.
Gotta live the power fantasy.
Right. Don't ruin my fantasy katana. Too late.
Too late. We've already said that even the biggest weapon's only 12 pounds, which means I could lift a two-handed sword. I don't want to, but I technically could. Again, I wouldn't use a two-handed sword. If I'm going to have to use both my hands, I'm getting a fucking halberd. It's more effective. He's like, I want my fancy katana.
I gotcha.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Like we never said that what you were saying was wrong. We're saying that doesn't actually tell you anything about how it's useful in actual combat. Because they're corpses.
And there's just, yeah, and also there are misconceptions about how those tests were, like, actually done and what they accomplished. Like, yes, you are absolutely correct. They did.
I hate hitting that button. I'm trying very hard to relearn some button mapping on my fingers, and it's not helpful. Well, and even then, like, yeah, how sharp the blade was, but like, I don't know, it's a corpse. It's already beginning to rot. Even a fresh corpse is already beginning to rot. That's how corpses work. And they certainly didn't have the way to, you know, keep corpses nice and fresh for you for too long because they didn't have the refrigeration technology required. Oh, they did. They actually had quite a few various criteria because it was a standardized way of testing these katana. But like, the way it's typically depicted in media is not usually the way that it was actually handled, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's a misconception about how that test was done. Not that it wasn't done, it was. It's just there was a misconception on, like,
On the how.
Yeah, on the how and the why. Excuse me.
Listen. What, that time I ran a morgue in feudal Japan?
God, that does sound like an anime. Like,
Yeah, so, something like that. Like, 100%. And you know, it would be like slice of life, like mundanity kind of vibes with like explaining how a modern morgue works and then applying it to feudal Japan, you know, rules and logic.
no, it's like doing autopsies and like.
What's that?
I said it would be about like doing autopsies and figuring out how people actually died. Like it would be like an
it would totally
investigation thing.
Honestly, it'd be cool. Like basically become the first CSI.
Yeah, you become a death investigator. You'd be in charge of determining how somebody died if they can't tell by just looking at them. That'd be neat.
Apothecary Diaries is awesome.
Apothecary Diaries is amazing.
Although people rarely die in Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, but also not really. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, yeah, because she actually does apply essentially the scientific method when she's investigating.
I actually found out a spoiler about some of the characters in the new season that makes me happy, and I also think is hilarious.
I would yes and you would continue that conversation, but I really don't want spoilers.
It's very mild, but yeah, I won't say anything. I don't even know if it actually legitimately comes up in the anime, but there's just an explanation for somebody's actions, and it's, hey, by the way, the reason why this character does this is blah blah blah.
Still. No.
No, I got you.
It is. She has big sword.
Ooh, what?
He thought that your weapon of choice was a blunt object.
It's called a longsword. And yes, technically it has an edge.
Nah.
I always picture just a large piece of lumber.
The shade being thrown right now.
Wow. I mean, the principle is the same.
Oh, why is that? What's that? Cheating on me with another stream?
Yo. I suppose that's acceptable.
It totally is. I'm just giving him shit.
No, I know.
Listen, the joke was there. And rarely do I get to pretend to be a jealous person. Yes, I've gotten distracted. I knew it. Wow. I will get back there. I'm already planning my return to the night ways.
I'm still waiting for you to do a Oh my god, my brain just died. Help me, Bug Knight. Hollow Nest.
Knight.
Or Hollow Knight. I'm still waiting for you to do a Hollow Knight stream, like through the whole game.
Oh, like a true experience
Yeah.
of Hollow Knight? Instead of just, you know, whenever I feel like it?
Yeah.
What game series would you like to see me stream, Rain? There are many that you've kind of fielded at me, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to at this exact moment. Listen. I don't even know what Breath of Fire is, man. Aside from your favorite series. Damn, and Andrew came in with the shade. In other words, Rain, he will never get to it. Never. He'll die before he gets to it. Listen, that list is like 40 games long and you keep expanding it. What do you mean a real SMT game? Excuse you? I played the cannibal game. He's like, nah, none of those count. They don't have Shin Megami Tensei on the name. Even though it did up until, you know, Persona 5. I haven't been scared away. I'm chilling here. Hold on. Which one is 4? This is a trick trying to get you to play Nocturne. I'm not gonna fall for it. You died in the tutorial. Okay. Yes, you would. You're funny. I'd never do that to you. Has actively tried to do that to me at least once. He's like, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna fix this particular wording. Honestly, my main thing is I wish to know why you wish for me to play an SMT game. Like, What about them do you believe compels me? Okay. I mean, I love my Jack Frost. Jack Frost is great. I've kind of hit the point where my gripes about how the game industry treats certain groups of people has very little to do with Japan. Because other cultures and even modern games do the same things. Japan is just the one that's most, like, obvious about it. And I'm not quite sure which one I dislike more. I'm always gonna complain about it. But probably not stop, no. Because, like, other forms of media do it too, so it's kind of that moment of... it's kind of like, no. The world treats certain groups of people in certain ways because of stereotypes that exist in the real world. Media affects life, affects media. So, like, it's kind of that moment of, it's like saying, would you stop consuming any media? I'm like, no, that's dumb. So I could say it's a video game problem, but it's not. It's how people view certain other groups of people. And obviously, like, I usually talk about women because I am a woman, and therefore that's the one I notice first. But no, anybody who's not white, they're treated a certain way in media, and that's not okay either. People with different religious ideals instead of Christianity are treated a very specific way in media, and that's not cool either. You know, anyone who's in the LGBT community, you know, so on and so forth. Like, anyone who doesn't fit what the human race now defines as, like, the default or the template is treated in specific ways, and then that's reflected in media as this is an okay thing to do, which then affects how people see those types of people. Like, it's a circle. feel like I'm always gonna be like, yo, that's not okay to do, because it's not, right? Like I'm always gonna be like one of the first people going, that's shitty. Stop being assholes. Stop discriminating, you know? But to say I would never consume media would be dumb, because then I can't talk about the thing in a like educational kind of way. Like I can't come from a place of knowledge if I don't watch it, or if I don't play it, or if I don't experience it.
Right.
So even though, yeah, it bothers me a lot. But to not consume it, to stick my head in the sand, just makes me ignorant too, which is really bad. Again, Japan just does it the loudest, the most obviously. Like they put it like on the box, whereas a lot of the Western places, they do it in like the sneaky, like how scenes are constructed kind of way. Like you actually have to dig a little bit to find out what they're doing on the West. And again, I can't tell which one's worse, because because Japan does it so openly, it's a lot easier to be like, hey, this is what they're doing, they need to knock it off. Whereas for the Western type of media, I would have to, yeah. But like the West, I would have to break down the structural components to show that they're doing this thing, and then say it's bad, which is of course more work, and it takes more effort, and not everyone's going to agree, because it's not like, you know, on the surface, on the box, right? Like it's a lot harder to say that, hey, they made this character that is not white the comic relief character, if I have to dissect the story to make that even apparent. Whereas you can tell Barrett is used as comic relief in 7. Like you can, it's not hard, he's right there. So in some ways, I would say Japan does it better, in only because it's better for like me as the analyst. Like I don't have to do as much work to say that that's a problem. Because again, it's on the surface. Like there's no interpretation there. But obviously, because they're so blatant about it, means that they think it's totally okay. They're not even trying to hide it. So it also kind of shows that their opinions about people are probably even worse than you know, what you would think. Which is not great. Not good. Woohoo! A well-constructed argument win. Would you like to add any other thoughts, Katarina, since we're on that topic?
Not particularly. I think you covered it.
He's like, no, SMT4. Play this Japanese game now that you've said that Japan is actually okay to consume. Greatest old armor of all time. Katarina, you're actually more qualified for this particular question because I know weapons better, but armor, there's a lot that I have no knowledge of.
This also would depend on historical context.
Longest lasting or the one that had the biggest cultural impact of its time.
Okay.
Yeah, one that stayed relevant for the longest, or one that made such a splash that everyone had to kind of warp to it for a long, long time. Oh, wow. Nah, Rain, it's the green tunic.
It's a hard one. Because the armor question is actually really an interesting one because it was so different depending where you were geographically. So like for instance, splint mail, which is like strips of metal tied to like a leather or wool coat. Certainly lasted the longest throughout history, mostly in Asia.
Is that because getting the leather was actually kind of hard?
Sorry?
Is that because getting the leather would be actually kind of hard because they don't have, the space for large livestock?
So space. I'm not talking about Japan. I'm talking about like China.
Oh, okay.
China, Korea, like proper Asia, opposed to the island of Japan.
That's true. It's just usually Japan is the one you think of when you think military for a lot of their history.
I suppose, but yeah, no, you splint mail and scale mail, sometimes in combination. Probably, yeah, most of it's desert.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like they don't have a lot of I know a lot of the Asian countries have an issue with specifically livestock because they need lots of acreage for specifically grazing. Obviously with Japan, it's actual space, but I thought the other ones had an issue with that too.
But it would be a combination of splint mail and scale mail. That certainly was around for the longest period of time because it wasn't as expensive as say plate, and it also didn't require the craftsmanship and the skill to create as plate, like full plate mail. And a good example of that is Chinese and Korean style armors, which are very similar. As much as both cultures would argue that no, they're not. They're very different. Yes, they are. They're very similar. At least in their construction, they decorate them very differently.
I don't know whether to be flattered or irritated. That Rain has called me a dragon, which I appreciate, but also has threatened to rip my scales off.
I'd be flattered. Because you are a dragon. Anyway, that would have been the longest lasting type of armor. It wouldn't, and of course it's geographically dependent. Because you find it everywhere. It's just built differently in different parts of the world. As far as effectiveness, it was fairly effective. You also don't see chainmail in the East, very much, because it was harder to craft. Making small concentric rings out of steel actually takes a fair amount of skill, and it also takes a technique that they just didn't use. I'm sure they could have figured out and done it just fine, but they just didn't. Who knows why? Chainmail was more common because it was cheaper. Splint mail ended up becoming more expensive than chainmail because you had long strips of steel that tend to be thicker, or iron, or whatever they were making it of. But yeah, there are Western examples of splint mail, absolutely. To be fair, Western splint mail was very basic. It was like squares of metal tied to a coat or a jacket. It wasn't like the more intricate splint mail you see in Asia, where they have them overlapping in a very specific way that allows the wearer to move and all that kind of stuff. Whereas in Western armors, it's just like square pieces of metal that were tied to a jacket, or sewn inside of a jacket, like in little pockets. Which is maybe why people don't think of splint mail when they think of Western armor, because it didn't look like splint mail, because often the pieces of metal weren't visible. They were like sewn into a jacket. If that makes sense. I'm trying to see if I can like find an example of it on Google, but I can't right now. Like, it would often look like the guy was just wearing like a black jacket, and he was actually wearing a splint mail jacket. And of course, the weakness of that in the West was, if you stabbed your sword in the right place, it would go between the plates and make it through, which is why it was often worn with chainmail underneath. That became a common practice after a while, yes. Initially, there's like this, I don't know how else to describe it other than reinforced wool. But there used to be an underdress that they'd wear underneath plate mail, and that was the standard for a long time. And then they started integrating chainmail into that. And believe it or not, they wouldn't wear like a full shirt of chainmail. It'd be very specific sections would have chainmail, like under the arms, around the neck, behind the knee. Like, there'd be very specific places that would have chainmail, but it wouldn't be like a whole suit. Yeah. You really didn't want to add too much more weight to a dude who's already in plate armor. Wait, no. What? I'd use a cannabo. Which literally translates to sword breaker. They would break katanas. It's literally what the translation is. It's weird. I'm having trouble staying warm right now. What's going on?
Meanwhile, I'm over here chilling in a tank top and shorts.
Right? Whereas I'm trying to find my hoodie.
This is like the argument in the house. How cold should it be? Yes. Oh, think of the hydrate.
Got my hoodie.
What do you mean, Rain? You keep the house cold too. She does.
I have bad circulation in my limbs. It sucks.
She's a lizard.
Like, my fingers are almost always cold. Just ask Ice.
She's a lizard.
Yeah, I was.
Inside the house, 68 Fahrenheit. I don't know. Convert that to not freedom fractions.
Hold on. $20. They keep it at 20 degrees, Andrew. And I'm sitting here being like, fuck, why can't we have it at like 22?
No.
E3.
No. Too hot.
It's like shit, can we keep it 72?
No.
73? Something? And they're just like, no, it's too hot. I'm like, fuck. Hey.
To be fair, I don't keep it at 68 here. I keep it around 70. To compromise with her. Right? We were in a tall townhouse, so the top part was always way too warm. And of course, they put all the bedrooms on the top floor for some reason. What? What? Right? Why do I get the sense that the Carpenters Guild is actually totally fine and this new recruit is completely off the mark?
Yeah. I think that's my read of the situation.
Oh, I see. Everyone has jumped on the fad of buying anime things.
Hey, what now?
They're all wanting Far Eastern designs, which is Doma. So I'm like, oh, okay, so the anime craze has hit Gridania.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. Rain, they don't use katanas, they use spears. You know, the more effective weapon. No, she has no idea, Beaton. I need to stop hitting that button.
You'll get used to the new layout. Rain. Help. Man, that interview screwed me up today.
And it was only 30 minutes long.
45, but yeah.
Oh, still less than an hour.
Less than an hour, and man, that stressed me the fuck out, and it's like, it screwed with my brain for the whole day. Fucking Scott was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No."
Again,
I am
she
not
did fine.
okay.
Just want that to be known. She did perfectly fine.
It was very stressful, Rain, at least for me. But yeah, I had like trouble talking properly throughout most of the day. Nah, that's fine. Again, the interview I think went very well, so I should expect an answer in between one or between 2 days or 2 weeks. So you know, we'll see.
Rip.
So tiny?
It clips through her stuff.
Yeah, it does. Also, those shields with, like, lights in them, those were very real. That's the Black Rain. Wow.
Hear this bullshit?
Ma'am, why don't you have a sheath for your sword?
Don't need it. Too good.
It does kind of make me think of the Master Sword. A little bit.
It's a little bit. What'd you do to my sword? It used to be blue. No, the shield's on her back. She's a paladin.
It's a lantern shield. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which indeed were very real.
Don't have to be the right shield. She still has a shield. I made it, suckers. I wasn't gonna keep your stupid family heirloom. What use do I have for a family heirloom? Nah, it'd be sooner melted down and made into something more useful. Oh my goodness.
It's Mario.
It's not Mario. It's Dr. Robotnik. It's Eggman.
Is it actually? Zoom in on him. Oh my god, it is. Yes.
I love him. He did such a good job.
Wonderful.
Hell yeah, my dude. You rock it.
Nice. I love the gloves. It's the perfect touch with the giant yellow cuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Oh no. Did you attack somebody immediately upon entry? Well, I'm kind of on her side now. He accosted her. Oh, if you look at Eggman from specifically the 2006, I want to say, game, the one that nobody liked, where he actually had like a real human form, that is how he looked. Instead of, you know, the ball that he normally is. I believe that's also kind of how he looks in the movie. The big barrel chest. Yeah. So you can tell they're going with the more realistic version because obviously we're using, you know, closer to realistic character models.
I haven't actually seen the movie. I just seen clips of it.
Yeah, the trailers, which had lots of Robotnik.
Like, he played that part to perfection.
Yeah, no, I am kind of on her side. Don't be groping up on a lady that you don't know. She might pull a sword on you. It was a mess. They rushed it out the door before it was ready. Blame Sega. Bro, you do it to a lot of people? You deserve to get stabbed. Shouldn't have been groping up on a woman you don't know. Hun, I need you to take it down like 3 notches, though. I'm not the one who accosted you. No, he's gone. It was lovely. Like, honestly, did a very good job. Came from your new recruit. You left before me. Hun, you came here without an introduction. You came here knowing full well you might be refused. Or at least you should have. And 3, you've been causing nothing but trouble since you arrived.
Right?
If it were me, you wouldn't even have walked in the door. No, she's awful. What? You don't say. She ain't worth a damn because she can't work with other people. And that is in fact how the real world works. Right? Doesn't matter how skilled you are, if you can't work with other people, you're worthless. And I ain't saying you have to like anybody, because you don't. But you do have to be able to shut up and work with people. Hey you, idiot. It's my thought. It's 100% my thought. But honestly, You know, would probably say this one. Because it's true. She's trying to be like... That too. But honestly, like, the issue that's happening is she believes that, okay, where she's from, you can tell that every single establishment exists for one purpose, and only one purpose. Which is, of course, to make these fine katanas. And other weaponry of similar make. A guild is a business. Man, I don't even care about the different culture. Like, I'm not talking about like Leminsa versus Doma. Like, literally, the difference in what it is established for. The purpose of it existing is different. This isn't even a culture thing. This is like trying to use a spoon where a fork would be better. Like, this is a business that has clients who have needs. Oh yeah, no, I very much favored the second one though, because like that's the core of the issue here. Is like, no, we're a fucking guild, friend. You came in all hot and heavy, thinking that you could run the place when you didn't know a single thing about how it's used. Right? It's like I've done a lot of these. I've done so many of these by now. Just waltzing and trouncing every single craftsman who thinks they're better than me, apparently. There you are. Oh, hi friends. Didn't even come talk to the client to know that it wasn't an actual swordsman who was going to be using the sword. And you know, all she's gonna do is make a katana. She's gonna be like, oh, swords, I know how to make a sword. And off she goes.
Goodness.
Jesus.
Bless you.
Thank you. Although I had muted in time.
Oh, okay.
I know. Oh no, it was a sneeze. I sneezed.
It's okay. She only blew out my eardrums.
Listen.
Oh.
What matters is that the viewers were not affected.
I guess she didn't make a katana, technically speaking.
No, she did not. She just made a super ornate sword for no reason. Actually, you could go to any one of these places and I would be there, as I am all of them.
Fuck, right? I do all of the thing.
Right? I guess I can't go anywhere because she'll follow me.
Rip. Alright, y'all, I have to jump out and take a shower before bed.
Oh, I was about to actually end the stream because
Oh,
we're
perfect.
about to do a bunch of more crafting, and that might take a little bit. I was gonna grab one more quest and then end it, if that's okay.
Perfect. Yeah, that means I'm not hopping out too terribly early.
Oh, okay.
Where is this quest?
Need to find it real quick. See, I've done this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one.
Let's go.
Goldsmith. Hey, you. I think this one's actually kind of nice because it's the music boxes that we've been, you know, working on for the entire quest line. So it's actually kind of, in some ways, it's nicer than some of the other ones because furniture cannot be made high quality. So you just craft the damn thing.
Well, that's kind of nice.
But at the end of the spectrum, there we go. Because it's furniture, usually furniture has like more raw materials to gather first. So.
Ah.
Nice and easy. All right. So we're gonna call it real quick, and we will be back next time. And I'll probably have the music boxes done when we come back next time. Anyway, have a good night, everybody.